Alright guys, I wanted to do a video and talk about Chicago for a little bit. Now, as most of you that's watching this video already know, that there's a huge problem in the city of Chicago, okay? And it's been like that for years. And up until now, President Donald Trump is really the first one I've heard talk about it that really wants to take some action and get some things done there. He said, hey, if I'm going to be president of the United States, I'm also president of that area too, in that city. So we'll send in the feds and we'll do some things that we need to do to get some things taken care of in that city and see if we can clean it up. Now, it's going to be a very tough time trying to clean up a mess that's been brewing for years. Actually, guys, Chicago and the mess it's in goes all the way back to the days of Al Capone. All the way back then, that's where he's from. You had corruption. People in high places were corrupt. You had judges, prosecutors, police officers, any governmental figure you can think of. Not everyone there, of course, not every police officer, but there were people in high levels of every office you could think of. Somewhere there was somebody that was taking a piece of that pie that was being made, of all that money being made out on the street. Some of them were getting that piece of that pie. What happened was, a lot of times, corruption gets handed down to corruption. So like we're talking about judges in Chicago and prosecutors, hiring of law enforcement, different things like that, different levels. A lot of times, if somebody is corrupt, they get somebody in that they know that's also corrupt. It'll better shield what they've done in the past, and it just lends itself to passing on the corruption to somebody else. So a lot of that is still going on to this day. And like I said, I'm not saying everybody. This is just a percentage of people in high places that are in that city. And that's one of the reasons why the crime is so out of hand. And I can understand President Trump saying, hey, I want to do something about this. Don't you want your city cleaned up? And the liberal media is already taking this and acting like it's something bad. Like, how could this be bad? There's stories right now of just not long ago, little kids, little children there getting shot and killed in crossfire, getting shot in drive-bys and in homes. And the people doing it just don't care. And here's what happens, guys. In Chicago, in those bad areas, and there are tons of those bad areas, and they are big masses of housing developments and projects, and nobody will rat, okay? Even if you killed a little kid, they feel it's worse to snitch than it is to not catch the killer of that little kid. Unfortunately, that's the way some of these ones think in Chicago. And no, it's not a race thing. Don't even go there. I'm not trying to imply that at all. I'm just giving you the facts as they are. Also, it's been a little while now, but I talked to an ATF agent, somebody that's higher up than just the street level guys. And he thinks he knows how to fix the problem in Chicago. And like I said, he's much higher than just what we'd call your street level ATF. And he says that what happens most of the time there is that any crimes, anything done concerning a gun is not given resources unless you're in the hospital almost dead, in critical condition, or someone's dead. Those are the only two circumstances to where they actually put resources into going after people. So let me give you an example. A car of guys goes down the street in Chicago in a bad neighborhood, and they go by a house, and 2 or 3 guys pull out guns, and they empty the clip. you know, they shoot till the magazine's empty, and then they drive away. Well, if nobody in that house gets hit, nothing really happens, there's no harm to anyone, the police get called, they do a report, there's no urgency in that situation. And there should be. Because if you could catch the people that did that and prosecute them and put all your resources there early, you could get them off the street. The second thing is crimes committed in Chicago aren't being punished to the fullest extent of the law. So people are getting back out on the street. People are not getting sentences that they could be getting that would keep them off the streets. Now, there's several ideas and different things that could be done. I like the ATF agents' idea of give resources, but it takes money, though. See, that's the thing. When somebody's murdered, you have all these high-profile, high-end people and FBI coming in to really, the top people that are top in their field to take on this case and find the murderer. But if a drive-by happens and 40, 50, 60 bullets went into a home and no one was hit, those top-tier people are left out of the equation because of money or whatever other factor. And it doesn't get resources put into it. You see what I'm saying? And this is why that they're not caught. This ATF agent claims that if they were given the okay, that they could go in and round up a lot of these bad people, that it wouldn't take a long time. Now, I've heard of President Trump speak of stop and frisk, and let me talk about that for a minute. I don't like the idea of stop and frisk. I'll tell you that right up front. But let me tell you something. Stop and frisk used to be used in New York City, and they say it did work and it curbed a lot of crime. You can look at statistics and different things that were published about the actual facts, and it did deter crime. But if I'm going to say that when I'm in the United States of America, I don't want to be stopped and frisked without any reason, or without suspicion of committing a crime, then I can't say that you should stop and frisk people in Chicago. I can't do that. Because I don't want to be stopped and frisked in the United States, anywhere. But it did work. So I don't think that's going to happen, though. I don't think the stop and frisk is going to come about. They just need to put more resources into Chicago. Like I said, there's also the corruption that you have to deal with. When there's people on the take and people looking the other way, anytime there's high amounts of money being passed on the street, there's always those few willing to get a piece of that pie out there on the street. They work the street. It may be Christmas time. There may be a certain police officer that has 3 kids at home, and he may make way under what he thinks he should be making, and for his family size. And he might be offered money or money for favors, and maybe that officer will give in and take money for favors. Now, I don't think this is the majority whatsoever. It's only just a few, but it only takes a few to really disrupt things in that city. Another thing that always bewilders my mind, and I have to say that I believe deals with corruption too, is the unwillingness to let law-abiding citizens that pass an all 50 state clean background check and take training and courses to have a license to carry a concealed handgun. Now, I always have stated that where you find corruption, you find that it wants absolute power. And in order to have absolute power, you want masses unarmed. So I always say that corruption somehow plays a part in Chicago's anti-legal citizens, training classes, background checks, having concealed carry permits. I always say that somewhere in that chain, there's some corruption that's keeping that stifled. Corruption does not want resistance. Corruption doesn't want anyone that can do anything back to them. Corruption loves the unarmed citizens. Because what do they think it would do? How do they think it would affect the crime rate if tomorrow the people that run Chicago, the mayor and the people in high places said, we're going to let anyone that is 21 years of age or older and has never committed a crime, no felonies, no domestics, you take training course. I don't care if they say a month, that you got to train for a month. It would be worth it. And they say, we're going to let you have a carry concealed permit. They won't do it. They won't do it in that city. What do they think would happen? You can't tell me that these people that are probably much smarter than me, you can't tell me these college-educated people think that the crime rate would somehow go up and that it would make the city worse if law-abiding citizens had a carry concealed permit. So that tells me that there's ulterior motives there, that there's something else that is the reason stopping that. I just can't come up with any other way to think of that situation like that. How they think it would hurt. Why letting a family have protection with clean backgrounds and training courses? Why would you not let a man protect his family, especially when that city's that bad? All the criminals and gangbangers and thugs that do the shootings and that carry the guns and that do drive-bys and all this, they're going to do it no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's legal, illegal. You could say minimum 20 years in prison if you're caught with a gun in the car. There will still be guys that'll do it. So why stop the law-abiding guy that won't carry a gun to protect his family because he's afraid of getting a CCW charge? Why stop that man from protecting his family? I'm telling you guys, there's only one reason. Corruption loves complete control over the citizens. You'll always find that throughout history. So what can be done? I don't have the answer, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But there would have to be more officers, more resources, much more. A mega amount of money would have to be put into the city of Chicago. Here's another theory of mine. And look, guys, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going down that road. I'm not trying to play any kind of race game or anything like that. But when you have high amounts of people that use welfare as a career, white people get welfare too, But when you have high amounts of people that use welfare as a career, they have nothing to do all day. It seems like that contributes to trouble. And the reason I say that is what if these guys that are in gangs had a job, like, let's just say doing hard work like with construction or something, from 9 to 5. When they get home, they'd want to eat dinner and rest and go to bed. Okay, that's why a lot of these sports people get into so much trouble. They have so much time on their hands and they have an abundance of money, and all this idle time sometimes leads to some of these sports stars getting into trouble and doing whatever their dreams compel them to do. So too much time on your hands isn't always a good thing. If you do a hard day's work, you come home, you eat dinner, you're going to want to watch a little TV and get rest for the next day. So I think that's another issue, is welfare being used as a career. And but there's a lot of different things that has to be looked into. And definitely what they're going to have to do is push the laws to the fullest extent and then put resources into shootings, even if somebody's not in the hospital on their last leg, so to speak, and somebody's not dead, because that's all they're doing right now. If you're not in critical condition with tubes all inside of your body, or you're not in a casket going into the ground, the high level people are not being called in on these crimes. So all right, guys, I'm sure I probably missed some things. I do this off the cuff, no notes. Just kind of like how I like to do it, But let me know what you think, your thoughts and opinions. And until next time, guys, this is H4T. I'll be back with you real soon, and I'm out.